Well, I know it's been ages since we've last done a video for either work, progress, or anything of the sort. And quite a lot has happened in this time period. As you can see, I actually just fixed some coolant lines that were leaking. Just went out and fixed my air intake issue. I had a hole ripped off of a hose back here for that guy. He was ripped off, so now he's all replaced, slammed on there. Got myself a little cone air filter, got rid of that whole box supply over here. It's pretty obtrusive. I mean, you know, not too much air can flow inside of there, so glad I got rid of that. As far as like any more air upgrades go, I mean, it's pretty much set, other than adding in an intercooler, which would remove that AC. Kind of don't want to do it, but in order to route it to where I can keep it, it's a lot more work. I would have to change out my plenum, I believe, to one that comes from the front rather than over there from the side. As you can see, though, I have painted it. I have redone my entire fuel injection system. Took it all apart, got them all cleaned up, made sure that they were actuating. Some of them weren't, so I messed with them, and so I got them all working. Brake parts cleaner, a syringe, fuel injection hose, and a container. And that is what we had used to get them clean. It had worked significantly well, considering that some of them weren't even spraying at all and other ones weren't actuating, and now they're all spraying enough. It does run, albeit it does not start without starting fluid. And my reasons of a cause would either have been that hole in the air there, or when I was doing my intake manifold and getting it off, I could not get this EGR off. And if you can see down in there, I got some putty on it because I had actually ripped it clean off of where it connects down there. And so I got me some JB Weld putty, stick it on there. It's curing now because I am not able to get that socket off, or that nut, like, at all. And so I'll have to come back to it at a later time when I have the block off plates for the intake manifold as well as the tools to be able to get this thing off, because a crescent wrench and a crap load of lubricant is just not doing it. PB Blaster, all that is not cutting it with the crescent wrench. So I got to go after it with the socket, which means I'll probably have to break it off again, but oh well, I don't really care. This is not hooked up. I had lost the hose. I don't know if that might be an issue. I doubt it, though, since all of this is removable. I don't think that would be the reason as to why it doesn't start off its own supply, but it does run. It had an idle issue, but I did not have the brake booster line hooked up, and so now that is hooked up, the idle sounds good. It starts up. Like I said, it just needs starting fluid, but other than that, it starts right up, fires up, sits there, it runs. None of my instrument panels work while the car is running. Regardless, the only one that works is my oil pressure gauge here, and so I am gonna have to look into that before this thing becomes road worthy. I was getting ready to get an aircon unit today, but alas, funds. And so I had to hide it, and I'm just hoping that I'll be able to get it back, because there is a lot of wires here. And I believe I only need a few of them. I think these all go to the radio, and I think the rest of these, so one goes to the cigarette lighter. I think it's that one. I'm pretty sure that these go to the AC unit, albeit I have these lines on the AC unit that I did find, so I might just grab the harness just so that way I know that I have what I need, and I'm not gonna be sitting there with extra wire wondering what goes where. As well as I gotta make sure that I get the correct kind that this one had. But other than that, you know, that's just cosmetic stuff, so not too worried about that. I'm gonna get a little connector for my radio, just so that way I can at least have music. I did put it into gear. It engages, and it feels like it takes action, albeit I have not driven it. because the tires I still need to take care of, as well as bleed the brakes before I can even consider that. And I even want to just get it running fairly smooth before I think about taking it out. That tire has got to go, and that tire's got to go. The ones on the other side are bearable. I mean, you know, they're not rotted enough to where I would necessarily get rid of them immediately. Eventually I will go ahead and get all new tires, same ones all around, because there's not a duplicate tire on this car. Every single one of them is different, and most of them are different sizes as well. They do not fit. Finally got these off. Honestly, don't know why they gave me such an issue, but alas, they did. Now they're off. So as far as operational goes, figure out why my blinkers don't click, why they don't work. The hazards work, so I know it's not the clicker, so it's got to be something else. It might even be tied into my gauge problem. But those two issues: bleed the brakes, redo the tires, and I mean, that's really all that is apparent to me to get this thing down the road. So it's right around the corner. I apologize for the lack of updates and the lack of videos, all that good stuff, but she's coming along quite nicely, as you can see.